This conference will now be recorded.
Were unable or decided not to watch, you'll have this information to use later on. Wanted to just, I guess, use this time this week on a national holiday shortened week to just focus on, some tips that can help improve our inventory and get you all a little bit more control of your business when we're in a low inventory situation. Certainly, working with buyers is great, but when you are showing them house after house after house after house, and you are having to go up against multiple offers every single house, you're having to find some way to convince your buyer to offer more, offer a contract with less contingencies, and some buyers aren't willing to make those changes. Anyways, it turns into you guys just spending a ton of time and not getting results. So that's frustrating. If you have listings in a low inventory market, you can you can control your schedule more. You can basically get more, I guess, net return on the time you are putting into your real estate business. So listings are great. We love listings. Also, listings are easier to get more business off listings versus buyers. So anyways, all right, Remine. Obviously, you all should have had some experience with Remine before. I'm going to share my screen here. Screen monitor 2. All right, boom, there we go. So you all should have some experience with Remine at this point. Remine is going to be the future of our tax record and potential MLS technology. We will have, Matrix and Realist and those CoreLogic products. We'll have those for at least the next few years. But beyond that, Remine is growing and expanding at a pace that many in the real estate industry believe it will eventually become kind of an all-encompassing platform for MLS and tax record purposes. All right, so let's just, the whole purpose of this is just finding listings. How can you find listings? Last week, Ambria and we worked on a project of sending out mailers through Total Expert. And the mailers through Total Expert were being sent to people that have high home equity, that have high mortgage ages, that have high mortgage rates. And for one of our searches, we were looking at people that owned these properties as either second homes or rental properties. So we put in a filter for absentee owners, corporate owners, LLC owners, to find people that, it's not their primary residence. When sale prices are climbing, when interest rates are super low, when there's just a ton of buyer demand and low inventory, these people that have these properties as either second homes or investment properties, these are people that you can potentially easily convince to offload those properties because they're not facing the challenge of, okay, I sold my house, now where do I go? These are just extra homes that they own. So that kind of that hurdle of, all right, great, I sell my house, but where do I go? That's keeping a lot of people back from listing their homes right now. So targeting these people that own these properties as second properties or as rental properties, those people don't have that challenge, and so it's easier to convince them to list. So anyways, long story short, Ambry and I worked on this project to send out mailers to these people. So that's kind of an example. I'm going to get rid of all of these filters though, and we're going to go back to just looking at the screen here for our immediate area. I am not anywhere close to our immediate area, so let me get back into focus here. All right, the first thing that you just got to understand is that when you're zoomed out on the map, you won't see any properties, but as you zoom in, the closer you zoom in, that's when you actually start seeing all of the like property profiles start to pop up. So internet's moving slow here, but now it's updating, and now you're seeing all of the property profiles. So all these dots that you're seeing on the screen, all of those dots are over here in a long list. And then as you apply filters to this, these dots, some of these dots are going to go away, and so then this list of properties here on the right is going to basically get shorter. All right, so finding good properties to pursue. So finding, using Remine to find, find new listings, prospect for new listings, prospect for off-market buyer transactions. Like I was just saying, you would use the filters here on the left that maybe use the filters to, I'm rambling here, my mind is in a blender right now. Use the filters and like strategically. So like the Ambry and I's project, we focused on, one of the things we focused on was ownership time. So people that have owned their homes for a long time, there's a good chance that they have built up good equity in their homes. And when they've built up good equity, it's, with the rising sale prices, it's easier for them to sell off that home and then use that money to go somewhere else. So for this situation, you can use the standard ownership time filters, or you can adjust them. So let's say that I want the minimum. I don't even want to see things that have been owned less than 15 years. So now my filters here have been adjusted to make the minimum as 15. And so let's say I just want to go there and there and there. Well, I'm gonna check all of them. So I'm gonna apply all of them. Now I'm not seeing all of the dots anymore. I've lost some of the dots. So now it's updated, and now I've got less dots. So I've got ownership time there. Let's say I want to pursue people that have high mortgage rates. So thinking intelligently on this, interest rates are super low right now. So these people that have a high interest rate, let's go there and let's go there. These people may be in a position where you could send them a letter that says, hey, interest rates are super low right now. I know you've owned your home for a really long time. So why don't you, talk to me about listing your home, and you can take advantage of the low interest rates, get all your equity out of the home, and then use that towards something else. So let's say, all right, now I've got these 4 properties here. Whether it's 4 properties or it's 100 properties, once you've got your filters set, all you got to do is go over here to the right, check select all, and then you're going to add them to a cart. You add them to a cart. You can create a cart, or you can, let's see, well, I'm just going to use my sample cart. I'm going to add 4 properties to this cart. And then when I go over here to my carts, I go to sample cart. Sorry, the internet is moving real slow this morning. So it is not, see, it's saying I have 0 properties in the cart. There we go, there we go. I've got a ton of properties in the cart. So I've got my sample cart here, And then if I want to send mailers or send letters to these people, what I would do is I would check all of them, and then I would just hit export. And then when I do that, it is going to process them and turn them into a CSV file, which is it's like a different version of an Excel file. You name the file, and then you can choose which columns that you want to include in the spreadsheet, and then you download that spreadsheet. A whole separate training that I could do is teaching you how to do mail merge, but basically you could download the spreadsheet, make sure that all of the mailing address information is in the columns to export, and then you would use that spreadsheet to create all of your letters. You would just create one stock form letter, and then you would use the mail merge feature within Excel and Microsoft Word to send them all the same letter. And the letter could basically just say that, hey, I know that your house, according to public record, you have a higher interest rate and you've owned your home for at least 15 years. Have you considered taking advantage of low interest rates and your high equity that you have in your home and using that to sell the home and buy something newer or better or bigger, whatever you want to say in your letter. All the columns that you can export, there are a ton of columns. So just think about all the different details that are in the tax record. There's basically a column for every single one of those details that's in the tax record. So when you download these spreadsheets, if you selected all these columns, I mean, the spreadsheet would be like 30 columns. No, it would be more than 30. It'd be like 50 columns wide. Property address, mailing address. So that's the other thing, mailing address. If you're pursuing people that are absentee owners, like this is their second home or this is their rental property, well, you don't necessarily just want the property address, you want the mailing address, because you don't want to send the postcard to the tenants at the rental property. You want to send the postcard to the owners at the mailing address. You want to have the owner's information. So that way, when you're doing the mail merge, you've got the owner's name that you can put in there. And I mean, you could put all this stuff in there if you want to customize more details in your letter. Like with the mail merge, you could put in a little sentence there that says, I understand that you have blank number of bedrooms. Well, then you could put a field in your mail merge letter that's, allows you to insert the number of bedrooms. There's a lot of different features there that you can do with the mail merge, but you want to make sure that you at least have the owner information and the mailing address information, because those are the details that you want to send people. Those are the details you need when you're sending these letters out. So anyways, that's how the cart works. Going back to the search, you can save searches too. So if I want to save this, I could save this search. That way I can go back to it whenever I want. So if I'm trying to drip on people, if I'm trying to target people, if I know, or if I'm planning to send 4 mailers to these people over the course of a year to try to nudge them towards selling, I would want to save that search, so that way I don't have to re-put the same filters on every single time. Hopefully that I think that that should make sense for you all. All right, I know. Let's see. I know Kathy, you've played around with Remine before. I believe Susan, you've played around with Remine too. Anybody have any questions, like any specific things they want me to answer? Okay, all right. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna put in status, and I am going to pursue people that are off market, the people that are expired, and all right, so expired and off market. So those are people that their homes have, they went on the market and they expired, or they haven't been on the market anytime recently. And then I'm going to do ownership time. I'm going to do at least 10 years. I'm going to apply that. I'm going to do, let's say, all right, Oakville, 63129 area. That is a brutal area for inventory. There is just not enough listings in 63129. So I'm just going to focus on an area. Just going to focus on 63129. One of my internet decides it wants to speed up and work for me. Eventually this will, all right, boom. All right, so looking here, I've got a ton of results. So I want to filter this down even further. And let's say, oh, flood zone risk. I don't want any, I don't want any high flood zone properties. I don't want to mess around with trying to list a property in a flood zone. Let's say I want to go after people that have, yeah, the, let's say I want to do has no mortgage. They were cash deals or they're completely paid off. That's reduced it even further. So down to 3207. Let's go to, I only want to mess with people, or I only want listings that are, okay, let's say, all right, let's go with the hot price ranges. Let's go 100 to 350. That's what I want my, that's where I want my focus to be. All right, so I put too much in there. Now it's showing I don't have enough results, so that doesn't seem right. No mortgage, interesting. Property value. I'm not really sure what's going on there. All right, get rid of that property value. Now is it back? All right, there we go, now it's back. All right, so 409 results, that's a little bit better. And you can just keep going further and further down, digging further and further down, and until you get to a manageable, workable list. I think that's another thing that I want to reinforce here is that if you want to spend your time sending thousands of letters, great, go for it. But I think it'd probably be better for you to choose a more, like a shorter, smaller, more targeted list to go after people with, something that you can actually manage. All right, so I'm going to answer some questions here. Susan was wondering, does it make sense for us to upload client lists into this system? You know, Susan, I guess if you have a client list that you wanted to, I guess you could potentially upload their list into here, and perhaps that would help you, I don't know, maybe dig into finding their property histories. I guess maybe what were you thinking that you would think that uploading the client list into this system would make sense? No idea. Okay. Nothing is coming to mind as far as like what would be advantageous of uploading things into this system. So I can't really.
I took, Matt.
Yeah.
I took the subdivisions that I farm.
Yeah.
And went back through here just so that I could capture email addresses. So that I could put them on the back of my website. Okay.
All right. Just okay, so you could find the email addresses. All right, so there you go. That's a good idea. And so when you did that, you uploaded contacts into them. Is that what you did?
Well, I knew the subdivisions, so I searched for the subdivisions on there and then took the contacts and focus solely on emails. So, some of the contacts, they don't have any email information on them. Some of them, they have like 3 or 4 email addresses. But I still uploaded it, and, our system let me know which, like, that I had some invalid emails. So I knew just to delete those emails out of there. Because people change their email with jobs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I would say that I probably got about half of the people that I farm now on the back of my website, so that they are getting, notifications from our office of when we have events or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, and this is a good, I guess, good timing to bring that up, is like, if you're trying to do something to farm for your neighborhood, like, all right, so July 4th, that's a time when, in I guess a normal year, there would be a lot of maybe neighborhood activities, things going on in the neighborhood along or around the July 4th holiday weekend. So if you were planning on doing some sort of farming activity to celebrate July 4th with your neighborhood, and you wanted to get that information out to your neighborhood, using Remine to basically find all the associated emails within that neighborhood, to send out some sort of email blast about whatever you got going on in the neighborhood, that would be a good idea. All right. Anybody else have any other questions? Like, I mean, really, the whole point of this is just, we need listings. Everyone needs listings. Everyone wants listings. Nobody wants to drive around, week after week just showing buyers, because it's hard to control your time, control your business, control your income when all you're doing is working with buyers, especially in a market like this. So, however I can help you, I would, love to set up another training session where we teach you how to do mail merge. Would that be a good idea if we did that as like a sales meeting topic? Is teaching everyone how to use mail merge?
Are you talking about mail merge for the labels, or is there some way to mail merge with like a form letter?
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking is, that's what I did this with Tom Gettleman last week. Is he basically wrote up a form letter using Microsoft Word, and the form letter was what was his form letter? Oh, his form letter was end of June. We're halfway through the year. He was sending out real estate reviews and basically links to get buy-side reports. He was sending those out to his whole farming neighborhood. So his form letter said, basically the start of the letter said something to the effect of greetings, and then it was blank. The blank there was a mail merge placeholder for owner's name. So he basically downloaded a spreadsheet from Remine with the owner's name and their mailing address. And so he put the place letter in there for the form letter for the owner's name. The letter went through. There was another placeholder in there for the address. So it said something like, to the effect of, greetings, Bob and Joan Smith, sending this out, to you because you are the owners of such and such address in such and such neighborhood. Below you will find a report on all the activity, real estate activity in your area so far this year. And here's some of the metrics as far as average days on market and sale prices. And then then at the bottom of the letter is like, if you would like to get an updated buy side report for your own specific home, go here, follow this link. And that was his form letter that he's sending out for the end of June, halfway through the year, to his farm area. So does that kind of make sense?
Yes, we would love to have a training. Okay. Yes.
All right. we will do that. So that's something that we can look at doing next week. Because yeah, I would love to see everybody, you know, push market information, push for more listings, because that's how you can help yourself, help the market. Getting more listing, if we can all convince people to put more houses on the market to sell, that'll make it for everyone who is dealing with, and make it better for everyone who is dealing with buyers. You know, help yourself with getting a listing, but also help yourself with all the buyers that you've maybe got going that aren't finding anything. All right, so I could probably talk for another 30 minutes about all the different, you know, ways you can use these filters, but focusing on the ownership status, the ownership age, value, home equity, ownership time, mortgage age, focusing on those will help you pinpoint people that may be in a position where they can afford to sell their home. They are maybe incentivized to take advantage of the rising sale prices and the low interest rates to find something that's bigger or better. Or for some people, maybe you want to go after people that have owned their home for a long time, and maybe it's too big of a home for them, and you want to go after them to incentivize them to sell that off and buy something smaller and more affordable, more manageable, easier to maintain and take care of. Maybe that's what you want to do. Or maybe you want to go after people that have something that's small that maybe they haven't owned for that long, but maybe they're in a position where they need to buy a bigger house. So you go after those people. Anyways, any other questions before I wrap this up? I'm going to post this on my YouTube channel so that way everyone can go back to this. But really, you know, I am here to help you. Both Ambria and I, we helped Tom with his form letter that he sent out to his neighborhood. So we are positioned to help you however we can.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. I will, for next week's, I think for next week's sales meeting, that's what I'll make it about, is make it about using the form letters. All right. That's it. I'm signing off. Thanks, guys.